The Orion Nexus space station floated silently in the void, a glittering city suspended among stars. Humans, aliens, and creatures from countless worlds moved through its corridors, negotiating trades, exchanging stories, and maintaining fragile alliances. At the heart of the station, in the gleaming central plaza, a gathering of diplomats and dignitaries had assembled. Among them was Lyra, a tall, elegant alien woman whose pale, opalescent skin shimmered under the station lights. She moved with grace, her long hair trailing behind her like liquid silver. To an untrained observer, she was just another diplomat, an alien of notable importance. But her presence drew attention from all corners of the plaza. Lyra was aware of the eyes following her, but she did not flinch. She had been trained in diplomacy, negotiation, and even subtle forms of self-defense by her human husband, Commander Jason Hale. Jason, stationed off-world on a covert mission, had spent years ensuring that she was prepared for any threat, even those as unlikely as the ones that would appear today. The Xyrath Syndicate had been watching the station for weeks, its members hiding among the crowds, assessing routines, and waiting for the perfect moment. The Syndicate was notorious for abducting alien dignitaries and selling them to the highest bidder or forcing them into labor. Its members were ruthless, calculating, and confident that humans were weak and predictable. They did not know that Lyra's connection to humanity made her far more dangerous than any ordinary target. It began subtly. The plaza's lights flickered, a sign of the Syndicate's interference with the station's power grid. Moments later, a group of masked figures emerged, their movements precise and synchronized. The crowd froze, panic spreading like wildfire. Lyra's eyes widened, but she did not scream. She knew that any sudden movement could provoke them to act violently. Her training took over. She subtly adjusted her pace, guiding herself toward the nearest security personnel. But the Syndicate had planned for this. They struck quickly, using devices that emitted short-range electromagnetic pulses to disable electronic communications. The security bots froze mid-step, their glowing eyes dimming. Human officers tried to respond, but the Syndicate was already halfway through their operation. Lyra was seized before she could reach help. Hands gripped her arms firmly, yet she remained calm, observing every detail of the attackers' formation. The Syndicate's leader, a tall alien with dark, jagged markings on his skin, barked orders. "Secure her. Do not harm her. She is valuable." Lyra's mind raced. She had to buy time. Every second could mean the difference between life and death. She subtly activated a small device hidden in her bracelet, a communication beacon that only Jason could detect. The device transmitted a signal, faint but unmistakable, leading him directly to her location. She knew Jason would understand it immediately. Only he could. Meanwhile, the Syndicate moved her swiftly through the station, avoiding cameras and security checkpoints. Civilians were pushed aside, their frightened eyes following the sudden chaos. Some tried to intervene, but the Syndicate's advanced weapons kept them at bay. The plaza emptied quickly, leaving only the Syndicate and their captive. Jason, stationed in a nearby sector, felt the sudden disturbance in communications. The subtle fluctuation was unusual, familiar. His heart raced as he traced the faint signal from Lyra's device. He knew immediately she had been taken. Without hesitation, he gathered a small, elite team of humans, engineers, tacticians, and combat specialists, and prepared for a rapid infiltration. Back on the moving transport carrying Lyra, the Syndicate underestimated their captive. They believed she was a fragile alien, incapable of resistance or escape. Lyra, however, had inherited human ingenuity and resourcefulness. She studied their routines, memorized patrol schedules, and subtly manipulated their technology. A few misaligned wires here, a subtle button press there, small actions that would sow chaos when the moment was right. Hours passed as the transport rocketed through space toward a hidden asteroid base. Lyra maintained her composure, communicating silently with Jason through the beacon. Every signal she sent was a clue, a breadcrumb to guide him. Every move she made was calculated to survive and delay the Syndicate's plans. The Syndicate's base was massive, carved into the side of a barren asteroid. Shields shimmered against the black void, and defense turrets scanned the surrounding space. Inside, alien workers prepared cells and containment areas, confident that their prize, Lyra, would soon be delivered to the auction block. Lyra's mind, however, was not on captivity. She was calculating, anticipating Jason's approach. She observed a weak point in the asteroid's power distribution, a chance to disable surveillance temporarily if she could manipulate the right control panels. But reaching them meant leaving her temporary cell, a risk she had to take carefully. At the same time, Jason piloted a stealth shuttle, weaving through debris fields and avoiding detection. Human ships were not as fast as some alien craft, but humans had perfected unpredictability. He used erratic flight patterns, feints, and sudden bursts of speed to approach undetected. His mind replayed every piece of information Lyra had ever given him about alien physiology, security systems, and the base's likely layout. Every human tactic he had ever studied now converged in this mission. Inside the base, Lyra made her move. Using a hidden tool, she unlocked the door of her cell, moving silently into the corridor. Each step was deliberate, measured. She disabled cameras and alarms as she advanced, leaving cryptic signs that only Jason would understand. These signs were not random. Jason would know that a human mind was behind them, thinking ahead, preparing. The Syndicate noticed anomalies almost immediately. Alarms blinked, lights flickered, and a few security bots moved erratically. The Syndicate leader's eyes narrowed. "Something is wrong," he hissed. "She is not just another alien, she is clever." Hours passed. The shuttle approached the asteroid, and Jason prepared his team for infiltration. His plan relied on speed, surprise, and improvisation, classic human tactics that aliens often underestimated. He knew the risks. Detection could lead to disaster. But he also knew that no alien logic could predict the unpredictable nature of human ingenuity. Lyra reached the main corridor, near the central chamber where the Syndicate intended to hold her. She paused, listening. Footsteps echoed, guards exchanged words in a harsh alien language, and the faint hum of energy shields buzzed through the walls. Her heart beat steadily, a mix of fear and determination. She activated the final part of her beacon, a continuous signal that Jason could follow precisely. The Syndicate's confidence began to falter. "Prepare the auction," the leader commanded, but unease shadowed his tone. The anomalies were growing and no one could explain them. Then Jason's team made contact with the outer defenses, disabling a perimeter drone silently. The asteroid's alarms did not detect their presence. Humans had learned to exploit weaknesses that aliens overlooked, small gaps in programming, subtle mechanical flaws. The team moved with precision, knowing the final confrontation was imminent. Inside, Lyra positioned herself near the chamber, preparing to act the moment Jason arrived. She knew that if the Syndicate discovered her communication, her life could end in seconds. Every decision she made was critical. She had trained for moments like this, and her human instincts guided her. As the asteroid's artificial night fell, shadows stretched across corridors. The Syndicate guards grew uneasy. A soft vibration ran through the walls, a subtle hint that something was approaching. And then, the unmistakable sound of human engines, Jason's shuttle breaking through the outer perimeter silently, unseen. Lyra's eyes lit up. She whispered a silent thanks to Jason, knowing that help was close. She had done her part, now it was time for him to lead the rescue. The final panel of Part 1 showed Jason's silhouette against the shuttle window, his team ready, eyes sharp and determination unshakable. Lyra was close, but the Syndicate was not yet defeated. Every second would count, and every human tactic would be tested. The stage was set. The Syndicate believed they controlled the situation. They were wrong. Humanity was unpredictable, resourceful, and relentless. And they were about to learn that lesson the hard way. The asteroid's surface shimmered faintly under the distant starlight, a jagged silhouette against the black expanse of space. Jason Hale's shuttle hovered silently, almost invisible. His heart beat steadily, but adrenaline surged through him. Every mission he had ever planned had led to this moment, the rescue of his wife, Lyra, from the clutches of the Xyrath Syndicate. He glanced at his team, elite human specialists chosen for their skill and ingenuity. Engineers, tacticians, and combat experts, every one of them ready to move with precision and adapt to unexpected challenges. Inside the asteroid, Lyra crouched behind a support pillar, her opalescent skin almost blending with the metallic corridor. Her breathing was calm, controlled. She had anticipated Jason's arrival, leaving clues along the way for him to follow. Her fingers brushed over the control panel near her, subtly manipulating the system to disable surveillance cameras and energy locks. Every adjustment, every minor sabotage, was calculated to maximize the chances of their escape. The Syndicate guards were on high alert. Their leader, tall and menacing, prowled the corridors, eyes sharp and scanning. "She is not just another alien," he muttered to himself, frustration edging his tone. "She is clever, too clever." He had underestimated her, and now the consequences were beginning to unfold. Jason signaled his team. Each member understood the plan instinctively, relying on their human adaptability. Unlike the Syndicate, humans did not follow rigid patterns. They improvised, they predicted unpredictability, and they exploited weaknesses others overlooked. The shuttle doors opened, and Jason led the descent, moving like a shadow across the asteroid's surface. Inside, Lyra moved silently through the corridors, guided by instincts and training. She reached the main chamber where the Syndicate had planned to hold her for the auction. It was a massive room, filled with cages and containment devices, flickering lights reflecting off metal walls. She paused, listening carefully. Voices echoed from the side corridors, guards arguing, unaware that their prisoner was already planning her escape. Jason and his team infiltrated the base from a side entrance, using a narrow maintenance hatch overlooked by the Syndicate. They moved silently, disabling turrets and scanning for alarms. The humans' knowledge of alien technology gave them a unique advantage. Where the Syndicate relied on rigid protocols, Jason's team exploited logic gaps and mechanical flaws. Lyra reached the chamber's inner control console and began manipulating it to open the containment cages. Other captives, terrified and disoriented, watched as the locks clicked open, their freedom at hand. A soft signal from Lyra reached Jason. He followed it, weaving through the corridors with precision. Every step brought him closer to the woman he loved and the confrontation with the Syndicate's leader. The Syndicate's alarms blared suddenly, a sign that something had gone wrong. Guards rushed toward the main chamber, but it was too late. Lyra had already freed herself and several captives. Jason's team moved in, combining tactical combat skills with clever diversions. Humans excelled in improvisation. One moment they used holographic decoys to confuse the aliens. The next they exploited a minor flaw in a security turret to disable it entirely. In the chaos, Lyra spotted the Syndicate leader entering the room. His eyes widened in disbelief as he saw her standing tall, a silent defiance in her gaze. "You are human-trained," he hissed, stepping forward cautiously. "Impossible." Lyra did not respond. She had no need. Her movements were swift and precise, a combination of human ingenuity and alien agility. She maneuvered behind a stack of crates, using them as cover to disable the energy field blocking the exit. Jason's voice crackled through her hidden communicator. Lyra moved to the east corridor, I'm almost there." They met in the corridor moments later, eyes locking. Relief and determination mingled in that brief glance. Jason moved first, his hand covering hers as they sprinted toward the nearest exit. Behind them, syndicate guards pursued, but human unpredictability made every move a challenge to anticipate. Lyra's subtle sabotage of security systems slowed the pursuers, giving them precious seconds. The syndicate leader, realizing the situation was slipping away, activated a secondary defense protocol, an energy barrier that cut off their path. Jason assessed the situation quickly. With a swift command, his engineer deployed a portable EMP device, short-circuiting the barrier. Lyra and Jason moved through, their teamwork seamless, every motion in sync. Outside the main chamber, the asteroid's internal corridors twisted unpredictably. The syndicate guards followed, but Jason's team had prepared traps and diversions. Walls temporarily locked behind them, automated floor panels shifted to block pursuers, and holographic projections misled the syndicate into false corridors. Every detail exploited the aliens' assumption that humans were predictable. Lyra, catching her breath for a moment, whispered, "They think humans are fragile. They don't understand." Her eyes sparkled with a mix of pride and determination. "We are adaptable, dangerous in ways they cannot predict." Jason smiled briefly, a rare softness amid the tension. "And we never give up," he added. Together they pressed on, moving toward the shuttle where freedom awaited. The final confrontation came as they reached the asteroid's central hangar. The syndicate leader blocked their path, flanked by heavily armed guards. His eyes glinted with menace. "You cannot escape," he snarled. "No human has ever outsmarted me." Jason stepped forward, calculating his options in seconds. Humans excelled in improvisation. He gestured to his team, and they scattered strategically, forcing the syndicate to divide their attention. Lyra used the opportunity to disable a critical control panel behind the leader, causing the hangar's defense systems to malfunction. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the syndicate's confidence faltered. Jason lunged, not recklessly but with precision, aiming to neutralize the leader without unnecessary risk. Lyra followed, moving with agility that blurred the line between human and alien skill. Together, they forced the syndicate leader back, cornered and defeated. The remaining guards, witnessing the unexpected success of the human strike, hesitated, giving Jason's team the advantage to subdue them. As the hangar doors opened, the shuttle waited, engines humming with readiness. Lyra and Jason moved inside first, followed by the rescued captives and the remaining human team members. The shuttle lifted smoothly, leaving the asteroid behind as alarms and flashes of chaos lit up the darkness. Once in open space, Lyra allowed herself to breathe freely. Jason held her hand, their fingers entwined, a silent acknowledgement of their bond and shared strength. "You were brilliant," Jason said quietly, pride evident in his voice. "I knew you could handle it." Lyra smiled, a rare warmth in her eyes. "I had to," she replied. They didn't know who they were dealing with. They never realized humans are capable of more than they imagine. The shuttle traveled back toward Orion Nexus, carrying its passengers safely through the void. Word of the Syndicate's failure spread quickly through galactic networks. Other alien factions took notice. Humans had intervened, not through brute force alone, but through ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. The message was clear: underestimate humans at your own peril. Back at the station, Jason and Lyra reunited publicly, their presence a statement of human resilience. Officials and civilians alike watched as the couple emerged from the shuttle, unscathed and triumphant. News networks broadcast the story. The humans who had rescued an alien dignitary from one of the galaxy's most notorious syndicates. The story inspired awe, admiration, and perhaps a little fear among those who had underestimated humanity. The syndicate, humiliated and defeated, retreated to reconsider their operations. Their arrogance had been shattered, their assumptions about human weakness proven disastrously wrong. The galaxy had witnessed, firsthand, the unpredictable, relentless nature of humanity. Jason and Lyra, finally alone in a quiet observation deck, gazed at the stars. The mission had been successful, the danger behind them, but the galaxy was vast, full of unknown threats and opportunities. Lyra leaned against Jason, her hand resting on his arm. "We did it," she whispered. Jason nodded, eyes fixed on the distant constellations. "Together," he said simply. "Whatever comes next, we face it together, and no one will ever underestimate us again." The stars stretched infinitely ahead, but for the first time in a long while, they felt not fear but control. Humanity had once again proven its place among the stars, not as fragile observers but as resilient, resourceful, and unpredictable champions. And the galaxy had taken notice.